welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a new film on Netflix, Rebecca. Before we begin, let me know in the comments if you were looking forward to this or what your thoughts were if you've seen it already, and make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like these reviews. It helps me out immensely if you do that. Also, if you're new here and you like movies, whether it be blockbusters, hidden gems, or everything in between, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases and some classics. But now, let's jump right into it. This romantic drama stars Lily James as a young assistant who meets a rich man named Maxim de Winter, played by Armie Hammer, on a business trip. They fall in love, quickly get married, and she moves into his luxurious estate. However, their spark begins to dwindle as she constantly finds herself in the shadow of his deceased first wife named Rebecca, whose legacy she's constantly reminded of. This is directed by Wheatley, who's made a number of independent horror movies and thrillers, including High Rise and the dark comedy Free Fire, which I enjoyed, though it's far from perfect. And this is the second film adaptation of the novel of the same name, the first being the Best Picture winner by the one and only Alfred Hitchcock in 1940, which is a great film. Wheatley has stated in interviews this isn't a remake of Hitchcock's movie, and if you know that going in and you've seen the original, you'll quickly be able to pick up on that fact. I'm not going to spend this entire review comparing this to the original and judging it solely based off that, though I do want to make a note of a few things. The first is that the original film is first and foremost a psychological thriller and plays up that aspect a lot more than the romantic drama. This goes for the reverse, with only elements of a psychological thriller sprinkled in and leaning much heavier into the romantic drama, just with a more gothic feel attached to it. So the tone of this is definitely going to be an adjustment if you like the original and were expecting something similar. This also has the luxury of not being bound by some of the restrictions the original had. That movie was made during the time of the Hays Code, where unfortunately certain subject matter wasn't allowed to be shown. And without spoiling anything, this film isn't bound by that and was able to expand upon some things that the original only implied. That being said, despite having more freedom to do what it wished, this film ultimately feels very restrained, almost to the point of feeling a little boring at times. The way the film's structured is the first 20 to 25 minutes is spent building up the romance between Lily James and Armie Hammer before shifting gears to their life at the estate. And that first 25 minutes or so is great. I like the chemistry that Armie Hammer and Lily James had with one another. I think their acting in general is very much this film's strongest aspect. He's very charming and she's both very sweet and likable, and you get enough that you want to see these two have a successful romance, even if it feels like they rush into things. They go great together. I also liked in this first act Ann Dowd, who plays Lily James' original boss. She's very sarcastic and comes off as controlling, and she's a little scene-chewing at times. She makes for a fun initial adversary to overcome in this first part of the film, and I wish she was able to have more of a presence. Unfortunately, due to the story structure, that couldn't be the case, but either way, I thought she did a fine job. However, when the film switches to the couple now married and in his home, it's fine at first, though I found myself quickly losing interest, because it maintained this passive, laid-back tone that was seen in the first act. It rarely felt like it raised the stakes, and it always kept that reserved level of emotion that it had when the movie started. A big part of the film is that Lily James, whose first name is never revealed, like in the novel and the original film she's only known as the second Mrs. De Winter, is constantly in the shadow of Rebecca. She's repeatedly reminded every waking moment that Rebecca did this or Rebecca did that, especially by the housekeeper Mrs. Danvers, who's played very well by Kristen Scott Thomas. But I would have liked to have seen more of how this started to take its toll on her, and we only got so much of that. There's definitely an air of mystery as we're left wondering what exactly happened to Rebecca, because the circumstances surrounding her death are questionable. But I would have liked to have seen how her legacy reflected on the second Mrs. De Winter, and it feels like we're deprived of a much more complex character study. Even the romance between Lily James and Armie Hammer fizzles due to the circumstances. He becomes very cold and emotionally distant towards her, and in a way that's how the movie in general feels, just very hollow and constantly keeping us at arm's length. So the story only felt mildly engaging at best. I liked the characters and cared what happened to them, but the tension only went so high. I was left wanting more. There was rarely a sense of urgency. Now, there's one point where there's a fairly big reveal in the third act, which I won't spoil, and I thought it was going to get much more intense from there, but it just goes right back to mellow and restrained, and it just left me feeling very disappointed. I thought it looked beautiful, it was shot well, and it captured this gothic atmosphere, but atmosphere without a compelling story only goes so far. This was a disappointment. It's not terrible, but it's nothing exactly memorable. While it's very well acted and is solid on a technical level, the story is fairly weak. The first 20 minutes or so was solid, but it never raised the stakes, and it felt lacking in terms of emotion and in suspense. There's only so much character exploration, and we never truly feel the tension Wheatley wants us to feel. While it's not a terrible watch, I'd say just stick with the original. Rebecca gets a 5.5 out of 10. So let me know, have you seen Rebecca, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you like the acting? Did you like the story? And did you prefer this or the original? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you next time.